Welcome, welcome. We are live, and we just, as it said on the sign that I just made 2 seconds ago in Canva, it's a pop up prayer. This is why we came together, and we'll give just a moment for people to jump on. I'm going to turn this over to Mayanna Kingery, but I was viewing everything that was happening, and we have a private community space and place called Grandmother's Garden for the Global Grandmothers Council Network. And we were in there, and one of our members, Kelly Springer, who might be jumping on here too, we'll see, was posting about prayers for it. And I suddenly got hit like, yeah, this is what we came to do. This is what we need to do. And this is the space that we hold and why we came together. All of the things we're doing is nice, but when it comes down to it, this is why we came together, so that in these moments, and we know there are many things going on around the world, but right now fire is blazing and people are in peril, and we are here to hold space for that and pray and bring through light codes and whatever it is we do and bring through. And we are assigned as hollow bones, as one of the grandmothers said, come through us at this moment. So, Mayanna, I would love for you to lead us with whatever comes through your hollow bones.
Thank you for calling. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, everyone who joins, whether now or later. I feel the smoke in my lungs, and I'm in Virginia, but I feel it. These moments that we are called to be in our full embodiment and in connection with one another, fully embodied, each of us, knowing who we are, why we're here, and what we're bringing to the world. And right now, the grandmothers are pouring through us as we surround and enfold these fires in California with calmness. We hold the space of calmness. Now, in order to do that, to be calm in the midst of the storm, you have to be in the eye of the storm. You have to be centered in the storm. And this is the work we do, is we go into the storm in our inners, in our being. We go to where we are one with that storm, to the place within my own being that my fires are raging, that Mother Earth is raging through each one of us, through each of our lives. We're all feeling it. And this is the work we do as we go inside to that space, so we can then respond to the fire from within instead of a top-down approach like everything's always been done. We are an inside out. The center of the fire is nowhere to fear in this way. When you have already burned away all of the things that could catch fire in you. If you have things that might trigger within you, you might feel those flare up as this kind of work is done. So we're walking through this with wisdom, with awareness, and with pure hearts. Taking our combined intention, taking our breath, taking our elemental being into the core of the fire, speaking to the fire. It's raging. The wind and the fire together are raging, and they have things to say. And it's our job in the center of the fire to listen, to heed it, to respond to that. So this is why we're here and what we're doing right now. I'll pass this over. Darling, Kelly, would you be ready to come forth?
Hi, just got in the door here. My son was borrowing my car for a few days while his truck was being fixed. I was just talking to him about the fact that when fire drakes get, the wind dragons that are the Santa Anas, they have a history and a place where they belong, and it's partnered with their experience of being. So to just outright ask it to stop because it's inconvenient for us because of damage and what it's doing to us isn't always something that elementals are going to respond to, because they have a right to exist. We were just talking about that in the car. However, this morning when I was seeing how much property damage has been done, and I started asking them to stop blowing as much and to slow down, because if the wind can slow down, the firefighters have a chance of being able to get the fires under control. And they're very overwhelmed right now. This is one of the worst firestorms they've seen down there in a long time. And a trailer park that had burned in 2008 completely to the ground just burned to the ground for a second time. So if anybody was living there who had been through that the first time, I can't imagine going through that twice, in my lifetime. Can you? What that must feel like. It's so intense. So I've been holding a prayer vigil since yesterday, and tuning in. And I like to always think about the earth temple that's there. And all of the earth is sacred. However, there is guardianships and energies of earth temples that are in that area. And there's a very special place in Ojai that holds a lot of energy, and a lot of the temple energy I would see would be in the hills, related to Native American grounds and sites there. So when I started working with the dragons, I would ask them to address the temples, the guardian sites. And that's something we could do together tonight, is go into the temples there and just listen together to see what we hear from the temple guardians. They can tell us things. And would you like to do that?
I would love to do that. Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Can we do the full screen again? All of us, all four? Yeah.
Okay. So I always invite us to come into our hearts and feel your body and your spirit, your feet sinking down into the earth with me and with each other in this moment. Call in the white knights and the golden knights, anchoring the four corners of a temple of light around us as a group. Inviting the divine hand, the mother father energy, the white lotus, as I call them, hands of God, holding us and drawing us down, all of our bodies, seen and unseen, known and unknown. Activating the temple of light, we take 5 deep breaths. Guardians and guides, helpers and ancestors, all of the temples of the earth, the New Earth Council, Dragons of Light and Ascension coming in to support us right now. Divine Sophia's Reformation Agreements, contracts, and new gifts for the earth. As we take these 5 breaths, just cleansing our bodies and clearing the field, cutting cords between us and all others, inviting our life force back to us, clearing our mitochondrial, our cellular body, our Akashic and quantum fields of any and all energies and interference. Thank you. And bringing us into a purified place of our own energy field now. As we step into that purity of light and truth of being who we are, inviting Divine Mother Sophia and the celestial dragons for the earth right now that are here for us. There's a rainbow one coming in. There's a big green. There's a big blue here. There's a big red one over here too. So notice these guardians I'm talking about coming in the circle around us. You may be seeing others. There's a purple one that just showed up, a big white one. So we got Earth. These are Earth Dragon guardians. And you're going to call them in a circle. And we're going to ask to activate the guardian temples where the fires are happening right now. I'm going to ask for those specific temples to reveal themselves to us and to come to life in front of us. We're going to actually do a kind of sphere displacement where we take the energy that is there, wrap it in a sphere because there's fires going on where these actual temples are. And we're just going to kind of bring an energetic sphere where we can kind of dive in without getting hot. So we don't want to burn. Energy that's burning can actually burn you. So we don't want anybody getting burned by the energy. But this is going to help us to connect to those doors and gates, those temples, and those spiritual energies that are there. So feel that sphere opening up in front of us for us to have a dialogue. And I invite us to go into our own heart of hearts and our own deep listening to receive whatever messages we are each being shown and told or noticed or asked to see, understand, and then we'll share. So I'm just going to invite that awareness and observation and deep listening here with the guardians and the temples. And I see 3 temples that are revealing themselves here. You may see more. Whatever you see is perfect. There's no right or wrong or must, no rules, no limitations.
Listen to the fire. Listen to the fire. Listen to the fire, says the wind. Come near the water. Come near the water. Come near the water, says the wind.
Kiana akatashkiti inia echiski piano ko epela. Piano kata ila ila manakato u. Queen aski piano koto upalalala. This has been a long time waiting. This ignition that's happening right now. Ashipio ukwipi imiana atasku. Tuila akayana akoto ukiana na shkoti iski. Ani atashki ipiano koto ipiana ayakto upalala. Minia ato kushkuti ipiana jakati ipiano ku ipia. Opportunities for deeper cleansing always bring about grief and sadness, loss, but also change and greater community. Many atashki to be people coming together. And the community part of this, there's something changing here that wants to give birth. And this place is being given an opportunity, a chance to demonstrate something um, through what comes from the fires. So there's something really beautiful in the fire that is wanting to reveal itself to the people.
It's the phoenix.
Yeah,
It's
the
the
phoenix.
phoenix rising.
There's
Those,
definitely that phoenix that's been showing up and speak to.
it's the little drops of water that
Mhm.
the firefighters are giving to the fire are what enable the phoenix to be born, to rise up out of it, the life out of the fire, out of the consumption. It's that water that
Mhm.
elementally makes that happen.
Yeah, and there was on the news today, a couple was riding through a neighborhood where their home had just burned to the ground, and they were smiling and talking about what they were grateful for in being safe and with each other, and they were holding a lemon from a lemon tree that survived the fire when everything else burned, but this lemon tree survived, and she was holding on to this lemon in her hand. And so people are waking up to the greater value of life and what really matters to us, what's really important to us.
And the new structures that will be built won't
Yeah.
be patterned on the same foundation.
Yeah,
So it really is a birthing opportunity
exactly.
through the trauma. Unfortunately, humans have shown
Yeah.
that they need trauma to change, that they don't want to do it upfront willingly.
Well,
So
or even if they are willing, this is what the opportunity of this firestorm is giving people.
yeah,
In it's like the circumstances of this are giving you this.
right.
They're giving you this present. And it definitely feels like a time of gifting from the light. Um, it's not going to be fully understood by everyone. And there's always going to be some people who want to play on the victim slides. But what was remarkable was watching that couple today on the news that weren't doing that. They were not, that's not where they went. And I think these people in this part of California have experienced fires a lot, and it's not new to them. Many of them are used to it. So the Santa Anas and the winds and the fires are not a new thing down there. They've been experiencing fires for as long as I lived in California, down in Southern California.
I
Um,
have a cousin who lost everything to fire twice.
wow, that's
Yeah,
intense.
yeah, it's intense.
Well, it's
It's
intense when we work so hard to build our lives, and your stuff that you accumulate is a part of that. It may not be who you are, but it is a part of being you and us and ourselves. And to lose everything you've worked hard to build and collect and accumulate is so painful. It is like, when it's sudden, unexpected, it's tantamount to what sudden, unexpected death and loss is. So that's the hardest grief to overcome. And I believe that, sudden loss of possessions is the same kind of trauma. Would you agree?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I live there, Laurel Canyon, and my ex just evacuated, and my daughter's at UCLA. And yeah, I don't think that it's something that you can like super get used to. And I've been in many fires, and I've had a lot of fires follow me. In Washington State, in LA, when I landed in LA, it was on fire in 2009. And it
Well,
was intense. The energy of it so intense. And that intensity is happening, like you said, you're feeling it. I'm feeling it. It's intense. And the world is intense already right
yeah.
now. And watching everybody, it just feels good to be with all of you
Mhm.
and to share even the bad stuff. I have so many friends right now filling my feed with pictures from across their house. We're leaving and all of it. And my heart goes out to all of you. And any bandwidth that I can lend to hold
Mhm.
space, to give comfort, you know, and love, and know that we got each other. That's it. We know this. You know, it's David Bowie's birthday today. If anybody knows me, I know that. And what was coming up is I posted this reel from his movie that he talks about chaos, and it's the biggest BS that we're sold, that we are surprised by chaos, but that chaos is such a part of life, and that we need to move through it and get used to it and embrace the chaos. And I think we're going to be embracing the chaos in 2025 like we've never seen. And all of the crap that we've all gone through has prepared us to have our tools and know what to do. But ultimately, we have each other, and we're going to need each other, and we need each other now. And just sending so much love. I know we have a full team here. I'm just fully lit up, head to toe.
Mm-hmm. We called in a lot of light just now, and those dragons that were showing up were celestials. And I know that the celestials are really helping us a lot right now with our advancing evolutionary process. They're here for that. And so one of the things I felt just now when we were all being quiet for a moment and going into those temples, when you started to speak, Mayana, about the water and the ocean and the fire coming to the water, and the phoenix, I was seeing something energetically. I was seeing all of these. I was seeing the light in the temples, and it's very star-like. When you think about a star shining and glimmering with light, you think about our sun. So the light coming from these temples looks like suns, and they're all blazing with white light that's very iridescent, like has lots of colors coming off of it. It's not streaming just white light. It's very white in its piercing quality, but the energy and light around it is rainbows. So I just see these crystal star-like rainbow energies coming through these temples, and they're really awake. And so something is very awake in all of this. And that's the thing, I think, inviting the heart to step into that, noticing. And in fact, I witnessed the same thing when Lahaina was burning. There was actual a photograph I captured of a dragon talking to the temple. You could see it talking to what looked like a stupa, and down on the ground in front of it. And it was on the news. And today, when my roommate and I were looking at the news together, we were looking at the billowing smoke, and we saw two eagle heads in side by side in the plumes. So we were like, wow, the bird tribe is here. Looking at the bird medicine that was coming in. And at that moment when we were together, her parents had to evacuate, and her brother and his wife and child all had to evacuate. So they're at a hotel right now. And so they were part of that today, and we were really holding space for them.
I feel to share. I was telling before we went live about a poem that I didn't write it today.
Mm-hmm.
I put it in an image today. And, I want to read it. Okay. Chaos to family. I sought for discord within me. It wasn't very hard to find. I looked at the chaos within it, full of broken hearts, yours and mine. The chaos rises up like fire and manifests as light in the world. Light becomes life as we live in time and bring our full selves to the world. When two come together, it's one thing. And three or four or more is still only one thing. just how many parts do we have? What do I bring to the one thing? What does my heart wish to create? Where can my love nourish the one thing? How do I show that I care? For life to be living and growing and glowing, it must emerge from the depths below. Out of the chaos comes fire, and light brings life to the world. So my heart is broken, and you say yours is too. We're here in this one space-time as one being with all our parts. Magic would love to create a family out of chaos to show the world what can be when love prevails and golden grace reveals the best for you and me.
That's lovely.
Buzz, buzz, buzz. We've had Victoria has been working and channeling through some light codes since before we even went live. She's just streaming it in as soon as we got the call. So I don't know if you're feeling to share what you've got coming through. I muted you just so for better quality for us. But,
I do in the second segment, as I was doing the center, Kelly was talking about the light and all the color contained within it. And okay, the smaller one is just the light with all the color around it. I know they don't translate, I think, so well on such a screen, but
we can see them.
oh, good.
but it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
We can feel them too.
And much, you know, really want us to surround the people who are fearful, the people who have lost, with that energy of those people that grasp for what was real. Because this truly, I mean, and I this has been coming through, and I really hesitated to share because it sounds harsh, but it isn't. This area has been so filled with deception for so long, and energies that have been toxic. This, like we said, you know, the breaking down, the burning away, bringing people to what is really important, valuable to hold on to. And as harsh as fire is, that is the tool right now to bring many of them to that place of reckoning, of going, oh my God, all of this stuff isn't important. This is what is important. Me, you, we have our family, this that is left. And so I want to bring that through with the angelic realm, in the offering them, surrounding them with peace, with awareness in this process of what is real in all of it. Because I think that's the unreality that people have come to live in, the things we have to have, when what we need is what we have here, is the one another's, the souls that surround us. So that's, I think, probably what the third mandala is going to be, is the bringing in of that comfort, the awareness, the peace, the willingness to transform.
You're naming the stages of grief and what we go through when we experience deep loss. And another part of fire and its dynamic of transmuting and cleansing is also connected to the white cranes, to inner peace. Because a big part of what we come to in the clan of 10,000 cranes is understanding the dynamic of life that is about transformation, not only to transform it from the burning of everything to ash, But what rises up out of the ash, that is about life, finding out what is really of value, what really matters to us, and that inner place inside the self that has to learn to recognize its own value in the midst of great change or upheaval. And that oftentimes is one of the bigger things that people need support with when they're going through that sort of really deep change, and that authentic moment of meeting in the pain body of it. Sometimes people need can really go there and have the wherewithal to meet it and show up with, like that couple did today on the news that was so remarkable. Or then there are people who are breaking under the pressure of it and can't manage it. And this is when we need each other the most. And it's a powerful time to practice forgiveness. A big, powerful time for practicing forgiveness practice within the self, because so much of the time people are dealing with one dynamic in loss is anger. And when we're really pissed off and angry, we always want to find something to take responsibility for what's happening. And from a spiritual standpoint, humans oftentimes want to be blame themselves, and will find ways to make their own choices. I did something wrong. I must be bad. I deserved this. This is happening to me because something I'm doing is not so good. We get very critical of ourselves as human beings. And so one thing the peace cranes are saying to me right now to speak to in that regard is, this is what we need and mean by forgiveness practice. It's an incredible time to lay down sticks and clubs, the things you would beat yourself up about, the things that you would beat up others over, the things that you would criticize the world for. Because once it's all burned and cleansed, there's no going back. There's only moving forward into whatever's next, and whatever new steps will need to be taken to recover, to regroup, to re-resource, and to reclaim ourselves, and to move forward from out of the fiery experience. So I invite you all to remember that also transcending through fire, when bodies choose the gate of fire for leaving this world. Our bodies are just our temporary temple for our souls that travel, and we move on into a greater light. And that those people who are experiencing loss of life or loss of pets, your animals or your human companions are all still alive in a way. And I want to invite people to remember they can reach out to the spiritual aspect of their communion with life, and always be willing to ask to talk to it. Oftentimes, spirits that transcend through fire go into immediate freedom and a beautiful place, and are doing well. So, seeing and putting out a prayer right now for all souls that are moving through this fire and through a fiery experience to be brought home into the light, and for the pathways to open for those souls to make it through all the bardos and into the light fully. So calling for the angels and guardians and spiritual helpers from the divine hand to orchestrate that for this area, this territory where the fires are happening right now. And to watch out for everyone, keep people safe. And blessings on those souls that choose the fire for their transition. Blessings, good journeys into the light.
We've had a lot of speaking of grace, golden grace, and that's just what we all need right now. The grace, that mother grace, that's beyond forgiveness, beyond everything, all the sorrow, all the pain, is the grace. Grace can flow from our hearts out through us so that it can cover the world, but especially those who are in trauma tonight, in this moment. There's a lot of trauma and there is a lot of fear. And we know what fear feels like, and we know how it exhibits in our lives. And we know that love and grace can calm the fears, and we will know. We saw another family woman on MSNBC, Nicole Wallace. She had just found out her home was gone and was there. She'd lived there her whole life. Her brother lived across the street and his home was gone. And she just, we're all okay. That's what matters, is the humans were all okay. The animals were all okay. It's so important to find those things that are okay that we can hold on to and be grateful for. Let our gratitude grow through that grace so we can know that we know that we know that life is about relationships. Relationships are what matter. Our communities and our relationships with each other and our world, that's what matters.
I'd like to...
My beloved is here and would like to speak a word.
I'd like to, as we're going through this process, feeling the true humbling moment that is so important for us to allow by the phrase there, by the grace of God, I walk.
Speak up.
I think most of you know my history about staying alive through not only the birthing, being born in the first bombing of Budapest in Hungary, with my mother literally on the birthing table, and then living through Stalin communism, and at the age of 12, the revolution of 1956, and then being the refugee coming into these United States and finding myself in Malibu, living through a fire, a flood, mudslide. There was an enormous, while I was living there, I lived on Rambla Vista in Malibu, and a good friend of mine who recently moved there with his family to Coldwater Canyon. And when I first heard of the fire, I called him, and he had to move. He's moved in with his sister, who is out of the danger zone. But he was telling me that Rambla Vista, where I was living, that that's gone, completely gone at that time. And then after that, after living in Rambla Vista, we lived in Rustic Canyon between Santa Monica and Pacific Palisades. And the latest report I heard was that area was now in danger. So the gratitude, the depth of gratitude that I have in my personal journey of coming out of all these event by the grace of the evolution of Mother Earth and all of us here trying to figure out how we can create a peaceful coexistence is this is what brought Mayana and I together with this notion of peace production, of producing peace in the heart of humanity. Because until such time when we are really able to create that firestone within the collective consciousness of humanity in the heart, nothing will change. And it's so important and so gratifying, so fulfilling, and gratifying. I mean, I'm grateful. How I feel gratified in gratefulness by having this group, us here now, and extending our heartfelt energies for all to join together in that heart space, so that we can finally come together and live in true community with one another.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andras.
Thank you, Andres.
Mhm.
Although you're live to the whole world, by the way. It's not just our little group. Well, which is not little at all.
Yeah, our big group.
The global part, you know.
Well, I was talking about the sea that's here right now.
I know, I'm playing with you. I'm always playing,
Yeah.
even during fires and everything else, because
I
we've all
drew-
been through them.
I drew some light language while I was sitting here too, and there are 3 centers to it, and it has wings. And I was really appreciating one of the things that you spoke, Andras, was about humility. And there's nothing more humbling than being brought down. And when we get brought down, there's only one place to go, up, because we're flattened. And, like even when we get sick, like I got sick for like 15 days at the end of this year. I understand I can hear you're still recovering. And so, it was a very humbling end of the year for a lot of us, going through this sort of deep rebirth process with the earth right now. The new earth is calling for it. And there's a big kind of evolutionary death taking place within a lot of us. An aspect of life force that is letting go, is shedding from us. And a big part of it is cleansing through. I never ran a fever or anything. It was very interesting. I just had it was like having all your tires flat on your car, not one, all 4. It's my energy felt like that for 15 days. And it was remarkable getting that humbled. And I had all these plans that had to just be on hold. Like, no, all my heady plans, as I like to say it, all my heartfelt heady plans had to just wait. And I'm just starting to rise up and communicate with my community and put things out again and start teaching again. And, there's another level of showing up with light and trust when we come up. There's some place to go. And one of the things I find the most powerful resonance in feeling it is when I tap into ancestral energy. When I think about my ancestral grandmothers and grandfathers, everything in my heart opens wider and calms down than when I'm trying to do something. So I have found that my guidance for rising is when coupled with my ancestors, feels a lot more centered and calm and strong. So encourage people to connect to that and see if that feels the same for you. See what that feels like for you.
I'm being called to the garden, the idea of the garden and what happens with fire in a garden. When when fields are burned with fire, they are more fertile afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
It adds a fertility. And so, as we just were doing the tending our roots,
Yeah.
grandmothers, tending our roots. Well,
Mm-hmm.
apparently something needed to get burned because we were tending, we were taking care of the roots. And so now the surface is burned, but the roots are still there.
Right.
The roots are those temples. The roots are the hearts of the people. The roots are still there, and they will sprout incredible life. Incredible life will bloom out of the fire, out of the burning.
Yeah,
It's
fire sometimes is a crucial part of forest restoration. It sometimes is a part of what nurtures a forest into regrowth and to rebuild itself. Fire's part of nature, right? So, yeah, that's right on. Yeah. It's just, it's very difficult, I know, for the loss of businesses and the loss of homes, the loss of your things, your belongings, your nest. It's difficult when we don't have our nest. It's not easy. Um, as much as we can embrace the change and the acceptance of, oh, good, we're alive, I also acknowledge it's very difficult to have to suddenly be without your pillow, your blanket, your clothes, your stuff that you've had before the fire. So, and I just want to honor the struggle and the painfulness of what that acceptance and that journey of having to come to terms with loss and grief is part of it, and to be supported in that, to support your hearts and dropping in and allowing yourself to feel those feelings. I think it's important to let yourself feel the grief and to be in it. But I always say, if you can allow it to move through you rather than attach to you, and you don't give it a home, then it won't sink you. So if you can allow yourself to feel those feelings, think of yourself like a hollow reed that's letting it pass through you. So those feelings can be felt and you can allow them to flow like a river when they come up and also be released. And it's important to share our tears with each other. I believe it's important to cry together. And I believe when we're together crying, we release more than we hold on to. So it's another part of sharing in community, is to be able to hold each other and just have a good cry if we need that together. So
Anybody else have to close? I think that we should do a nice little space holding prayer for the end for all of that.
thank you.
Victoria, did you have anything left to add? Oh, sorry, you're unmute. I'm unmuting you.
No,
I just muted everybody that wasn't talking. Sorry.
I'm just holding space.
Thank you. That's kind of the directive I've got coming in for closing. And, you know, all of our good advice is lovely, but while you're putting all your stuff in your car and don't know where you're going to stay tonight, and maybe one of your pets didn't make it, these things are all, thank you, Victoria. These things are all happening right now, and we honor that. And on behalf of the Mothership Alliance and the Global Grandmothers Council Network, all of us, all of you here who joined us and stayed with us, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you want to join us right now, that we just give a moment of little, that we make space for divine to move through us and between us and in the middle of our circle. If we could just all give a moment and picture ourselves all in a big circle, making that field together to hold those who need holding right now. And if that's you, we love you. We got this. In gratitude for everything that we do have and we can make again. Blessings, blessings. Grace, grace, grace.
Thank you. Wings of love. The wings of love and the divine hand hold you through every step of whatever your experience is taking you through right now. May you all find what you need in this moment. May your community and people around you show up when you need a hand and you need something. You know, people are going to be sending and gathering resources for all of you.
We've seen the beauty that has risen out of the flooding in Asheville. Our own Carol Schaefer was here with us, and she went through that, the devastation in North Carolina. And this is just another element making its voice known. And it's up to us to have the heart space for it all. And with our hands and our abilities, do whatever we can for those that we know and love. And which is everyone, not to be exclusive.
Yeah, and I would say let us know about your people. You know, let us know if you need anything from us. Prayers, especially prayer requests.
Just a short note on Kelly's word about the tears. Tears are the cleansing of the soul, and we must receive tears when we are lucky enough to get them. To cleanse our soul with that.
Oh.
And
okay. Kisses to the camera. Love to you all.
Close the temple. Thank you very much. We send those guardians back into alignment with all that they hold. And may they speak to us as needed. And we send those dragons and all of ourselves into proper alignment, grounding ourselves in the earth and stepping forward to be more fully ourselves. Oh, Ashe. Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you all.